What's up, hybrids? Welcome back to another episode of the Phantom Hybrid Podcast. This is Hanako, and I am here with Anthony and Michelle, and we are discussing episode 4 of House of the Dragon. And let me just say right now, we are not going in order today. Let's go on ahead and get the dragon in the room out the way.
All right.
We need to get that out the way. We just need to go on ahead.
Why are we going for the low-hanging fruit first?
I'm just saying, because that's what everybody is talking about. And Michelle, before we started recording, she's like, I think you need to put a warning on. No, if you are watching House of the Dragon, if you're watching anything Game of the Thrones, if you are listening to our show, you don't need no warning. You already know we're about to be on some fuck shit. You already know. Ooh. So
all I know is about halfway into this episode, I was like, "What are we watching here? Like, what is this?
This is Game of Thrones."
I'm like, do I want to see this?
Oh, I was like that too.
I was like, oh,
I was sitting there watching, like,
yeah, me too. I'm like, I'm not sure if I'm supposed to be in here.
But no, you know the funny thing is,
no. What was funny was they went to the first level of the brothel, and you're like, oh, okay. Then they was in the second level of the brothel. You're like, this is interesting. And then there's a door number 3. And you're like, whoa, okay.
But you know the funny thing, it got me to thinking because we've been talking about the boys, and of course, the boys had that big Hero-gasm episode that we have not discussed on the podcast yet. And all of the big deal that was made surrounding it, and how it wasn't fit for TV and blah blah blah. And I was sitting here like, if the boys was on cable, they wouldn't have even made those disclaimers because of shows like this,
right?
Because of True Blood. Mm-hmm. And because of Spartacus. Mm-hmm. Like, those are off the top of my head 3 things that I can think of. But anyway, we won't go into that.
It all started with like Rome. If you go back to Rome, because Rome started like that.
I don't think I ever watched that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that got juicy too.
Yeah. But right. Okay, yeah.
Hey, let's dig in. Let's dig into this.
Well, I'm not even gonna say that.
I don't even know.
So the problem is going to be that we're going to have to behave ourselves on this episode, maybe just a little bit.
Okay.
Okay. So let's start with Rhaenyra going into the room and then seeing the bag of clothes with the map. And I was like, who would give her this? And as soon as she opened the door, I was like, it had to be Daemon.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
I'm sure someone showed him that same escape route or whatever when he was a kid. So
yeah,
I'm gonna say Uncle Daemon. Yes, gave her a map and clothes. Let's make sure we remember.
It's already weird, Michelle. We already know it's already weird. We don't have to keep stressing how weird it is for us. We already know we're in Game of Thrones territory. It's gonna get weird.
But I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna be honest. After door number 3, I kind of forgot. So I was like, okay, they do get married. Okay,
right. So let's talk about the interesting thing with that whole scene. So, like I said, we're not going in order because this is like the big thing that happened. This is the thing that everybody was waiting for, but I don't think we expected it to come this early because I was fully, again, I've not finished reading the story. So I'm not to the part where they're together yet. Mm-hmm. But I was thinking they were going to wait until she was older to do this scene.
What is she, like 19 now? He said there were 4 steps. There were 4 years.
I think, yeah. She should be about 8. She should be about 18, 19 now.
Right. So,
like that makes a difference with Uncle Daemon.
We've said it from the very first episode. It seemed like there was a bit of a connection there between them, more than just familial connection. We've already acknowledged that. We've already said at the beginning of episode 1 that this was going to get a little weird. So we already knew this was coming. But I think the interesting thing about the way this whole scene played out is that with Daemon coming back, kind of trying to make amends to the king, it seeming like the king forgave him. You know, they're out in the courtyard, they're talking. It's the king, it's Queen Alicent, and it's Prince Daemon. And the king is totally sloshed. Like, he can't hold his liquor. And I don't even know if it's a nervous thing that Daemon is back or just that he actually is happy that his brother is back. I feel like it's a little bit of both.
I think it's also partly self-medicated because I think he's in a lot of pain.
After what I saw in this episode, I would think so too.
Me too. But I think he's really happy too that he's back.
He is. But he's also, it's in a weird time because he's happy that Daemon is back, but he's a little bit pissed because Rhaenyra is back. Because Rhaenyra was on a courtship tour, which I guess is she was
on the Bachelorette.
Right.
I'm sorry, nobody had a rose though.
They had some swords. They had some swords. So anyway, going back to Daemon, we'll get back to the.
We're gonna get back to that.
We'll get back to that.
Okay.
So anyway, Rhaenyra comes over to tell Daemon, congratulations on your victory. And you can just tell there's like some tension between her and the king. And it's kind of like Daemon is sitting there. He's just kind of playing nice, but you can tell he's copying what's going on. He was like, oh, something's not quite right here.
Mm-hmm.
And in a sense, when you watch all of this stuff play out in the episode, it makes sense. But at the same time, this was the one time when I was like, Daemon, you dirty motherfucker. You dirty, dirty, dirty bastard. Because I feel like he's still pissed off at his brother for trying to bail him out of the war that he created. And now he is being, we've been saying it since episode 1. Black Twitter has been saying, everybody's been saying, Daemon is the king of petty. Okay. He's the king of petty.
Yes.
And I feel like the stuff that he did in this episode, he was doing it to kind of like jostle his brother. But you did it at Rhaenyra's expense, knowing that Rhaenyra respects you actually, and that she's the main one that cares about you in this family. You know what I'm saying? I feel like he did her dirty, but at the same time, I think she threw him for a loop because when all that stuff started popping off, I don't think he was expecting her to respond the way she responded. And I think, I know a lot of people, there's some speculation like, oh, did they, didn't they? We already know they didn't. The showrunners kind of talked about that at the end of the episode. We know that they did not actually have sex. Okay. But we know that it was just about to go there. She was willing.
I feel a little different than you. I feel like he was going to go there and that the plan was to go there, but he was able to say no. Not like someone else later in the episode couldn't say no, but he said no. And I think his plan was to do something so that they could actually have that forced marriage because he's still trying to get to the throne. And he saw that, know what, there's some issues. She's not going to find a mate after their discussion. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to put a plan in place.
But see, I don't know if I feel like he's calculating. Okay.
Now I'm not saying feel like they're petty too.
Right.
Being petty too.
Right. But I would think that, I don't know. And again, I don't know much about their relationship book wise. I can only go by what I've seen in the show. And I feel like in the show, he is one of the very few people who actually sees her for her and not as the princess, not as the prize. So that's why I kind of feel like I don't agree with that mode of thinking as far as, oh, this is what he was planning. I do believe that he had planned to have her seen. I do believe that he had planned for that to get back to his brother. I don't know if I feel like that has something to do with putting Otto in his place. Because boy, when I tell you all the stuff with Otto in this episode came out of left field and I was here for it.
We're going to circle back to Otto.
Okay. We will.
I'm going to agree with Michelle though. I think his plan was to seduce her and have sex with her. But I think the very reason you said that he sees her for more than just a princess is the reason he stopped.
I think that's part of it. But again, I also think he wasn't expecting her to reciprocate like that. You know what I'm
However,
saying?
episode 1, how he put that necklace around her neck, I said there was some feelings there.
Oh, we already knew that. I just don't think he, again, we have to remember he hasn't seen her since she was 14.
Also, he may not have been prepared for her to reciprocate.
No, I don't think he was. And I think that's what threw him off.
Wait. No.
Like, this was just supposed to be a little show and tell. This wasn't supposed to be a full-on show. I just think there were a lot, and the way that Matt Smith plays him.
Tail involved. What are you talking about?
No. What? Okay, when I say show and tell, like, I wasn't expecting them to have a full-out OnlyFans session there. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't expecting him to expose, like, especially considering he probably realized that would have been her first time. I don't think
he would have done that there.
I don't think he would have done that there. I do think he has a little bit more respect for her. I think he was just trying to get some things going as far as like whatever's happening with the king, trying to get the king to force his hand, whatever. I do think there was some machinations on his part, but as far as the way that it ended up playing out, I don't think he expected to hurt her in that way.
No,
you know what I'm saying? To hurt her feelings, to leave her abandoned. I think everything just happened way too fast for him. And Daemon is one of those people, he is used to being in control. And at that point, Rhaenyra was all about the control. And I think Daemon was like, hold the fuck up. This is not what I signed up for.
He was feeling it. He wasn't expected to be feeling it. Because he was like, oh,
not like that.
Whoa.
Right.
It's too hot for me.
He left it there with her pants down.
I was so mad. I was so mad.
He vanished. Oh, he wrong.
He was like, if you gonna take her now, and I get him taking her down to the Silk Road, okay? I get him taking her down there, especially after the conversation that she had. She basically is like, look, I don't want to be a broodmare to some king that I don't give a fuck about. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's basically the gist of their conversation. You know, she looks at her mother as, having been married,
have babies,
right? And all she lived for was to try and have an heir. And then you have this little bit of a scene with her and Alicent where it seems like they've kind of sort of reconciled, or they kind of understand the predicaments that the other person is in. And I think it's taken away some of that sting and some of that bitterness of their present situation. But when she makes the comment about, oh yeah, what's it like being a prisoner inside the castle with nothing to do but have babies? And when she realized how that hurt Alicent, she did say sorry, but we know this is not what she wants. She literally tells Daemon, I just want to be left alone. I just want to be left in solitude. I don't want to have to deal with all of these politics. I don't want to have to deal with this. I don't want to be somebody's baby. I don't want to be the royal baby mama. I don't. And I think in some ways, Daemon looked at that as kind of, I don't know, her viewpoint of it all is a little bit closed-minded, especially if you're somebody who's never had those experiences. Think about it. She's the princess. Unless she's with her father, she can't go outside the castle walls, so she doesn't know about life, and she doesn't know about that experience between men and women. And of course, if you're only raised to think that, okay, your only duty is to marry and carry children, think about it. We see Alicent's whole existence.
Oh wow.
There is no joy in sex for her. I felt so sorry for that baby watching this episode. I was like, girl, if you don't push him off of you or something, just
disgusting.
She couldn't even fake a smile. She was just like, when he grabbed her face, she turned and she was like, huh. Yeah. I was like, oh, you poor child. But
we finally got her perspective.
Yes.
We knew, but we hadn't seen.
Yeah.
And now we've seen where she is.
Right.
She is not happy about that particular.
No. Because the look when the maiden came in and says, he's asking for you. I mean, it's late.
She
Really?
was just like,
oh my goodness, do I have to?
and not only that, you see her with the crying baby. Nobody's really paying attention to her. And like she said, since she's become queen, she's lost all her friends because nobody is comfortable enough with her, to think of her still as Lady Allison, except for now Rhaenyra.
She's the queen.
Right.
Now she's the queen.
Mm-hmm. But it was so interesting that you see those two contrasts, these two girls who are the same age, best friends, and their lives are so different. Like Allison was the lower of the two at first, and now she's the queen. And Rhaenyra is the one that's being treated like, oh, okay, well, you just gonna marry the first dude who comes around and has the best offer. It's just kind of like a reversal of positions. And it's so sad to see on both ends. But like I said, Daemon, I feel like he was trying to show her that there is more to life and there is more to sex than just being
trying to show her. All right.
Okay. Showed her. Well, he did.
He showed her.
In the good way, he did.
He didn't show her. He kind of tiptoed her on that precipice. So Kristen Cole, however,
he took her to a show first. He took her to, he took her to a show with the puppetry show, which was funny.
Okay, so she did come away. Yeah. She did come away.
She did take him to a show there
with the highlights. So she had homework and she completed her homework.
And she saw what the people really thought of her.
Yeah, no, she completed her homework from the education she had.
Oh. Yeah, she sure did.
Yeah. Well, A+. He left her hanging, and she was all hot and bothered. She had to do something, and Sir Kristen is a good-looking fellow. I'll tell you that
he is, and I think there's been like an attraction between them since the beginning. But of course, she's the princess. He's he's a white cloak. He's not even supposed. He's supposed to be chase now.
Okay, I do want to say this, that the historian, Lori is not here, but in the medieval times, the squires used to take the armor off the knights. A knight could not take his armor off by himself. So we know that she at least has taken his armor off before. In the previous episode, she helped because he had the armor off when they were out in the woods.
Yeah.
So she was helping him take the armor off again.
Yeah, you're right. So she
knew what she was doing. Now, what was funny was that last piece he took off and he was bent over. He had that moment.
He was like, okay, are we going to do this? Because you have to think about it in his mind.
Right.
Yeah,
because he is a white cloak. He is supposed to protect her. He is not supposed to, he can't marry. He can't have children. He's supposed to be chaste. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And then for her to come at him and basically seduce him, you could see him and the one thing I loved about him, he was respectful of her the whole way through.
Yes, he was.
You know what I'm saying? He was still like, okay, yes, she flirt with me. I'm still keeping my eyes down. She is still the princess, up until that last moment. And he was just like,
he let go.
He was like, okay, are we doing this? Okay.
Right. Let it go. Doing it. Yes. He let go.
But yeah, I can't say I blame her. I can't say I blame her. I can't say I blame him either. So I mean, what are you gonna do? This person that you've been crushing over for years at this point finally makes it so that she's being playful, and you can tell he was kind of like, she is not finna do this to me. She is not about to put me in this position. He was expecting blue balls in that armor. He was.
He resisted all the way up until he took that last piece off. And he was bent over. He was like,
yeah. I mean, every piece was a struggle.
Okay, let me tell y'all about this undressing part. I was sitting here watching this, and I was like, is there a scene more irritating than having to watch her take all this damn armor off? And there is, and Michelle is gonna laugh when I say it. The wedding night and the reunion night of Jamie and Claire Fraser, season 1 and season 4. all the damn ties on the corset and all the different layers. When I was watching those 2 episodes, I was like, if y'all don't hurry up and get this on, I feel like I need y'all to carry on. Taking off this armor, I was like, I would never betted a night in that time. I'd be like, it takes too long to get your stuff off. Just
see, I had a different experience. I was having a flashback to the 2 towers when they were putting on Theoden's armor before the battle, and the guy was strapped. Oh, you didn't see it?
I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, and the 2 towers they were strapping on.
But see, that's before a battle. That's different. I'm talking about. I'm talking about.
Like, oh, like you taking this off before battle. This was a battle too.
So it was a battle within himself.
It was a battle.
And on Facebook, it's been funny because people like, I was so tired of watching him take off his armor. I got tired. Like, dang, when is this going to end?
They were trying to be real quiet.
That's what the squires did. That was one of their things, and it was a big deal. It took a lot to get that.
But you know that he was debating every step of the way.
Every step of the way. He was like, I ain't helping her with nothing. Like, this gonna happen. She gonna have to do this. Because you see, he kept looking at it every time, like a new layer came off. He kept looking at the door. Like, I'm supposed to be waiting.
Like somebody about to jump in the room and say, surprise.
Like, is this happening? Is this
the
really
way
happening?
That the camera,
this is a prank.
The way that the camera was watching them, like when they actually started having sex, I thought Daemon was in the background. I thought somebody was in the background watching. And I was just like,
and it was like a really excellent piece of editing, because I was telling Michelle, I was like, is Daemon watching? But I think they were trying to give us the feeling that we were watching something that we were not supposed to be seeing.
Oh, that they succeeded.
And they succeeded.
But it was so different from the last scene in the brothel. It's different because we were like up close that I was like, oh my goodness.
But they wanted it. We were supposed to be
up close. And then here we are behind in the back, like we just walked in.
Like, oops, and we just behind.
Back on up.
Like, what's going on?
Yeah,
I'm telling you. Oh, I was like, but you know what? I would say this too. And this is after watching like the post-credit scenes. I did notice, you know, everybody talks about Game of Thrones and the sex scenes and the brothels and all this other stuff. It seemed the brothel scene in this episode did seem way more tasteful than any of the ones we've seen before in this, because a woman was directing, and she said that she had to keep that in her frame of mind. Like every sex scene that she's seen growing up were all directed by men, and there's a certain harshness to those scenes. And she was like, I had to film this from a woman's perspective, from a woman's point of view. And you notice that, like, even though it was a brothel, it didn't seem like there was just a lot of like just harsh fucking going on. There seemed to be a lot of love making, or a lot of
it was tasteful.
It was more sensual.
Yes,
than just straight up debauchery.
Yes,
you know, like a little finger,
which made the scene sensual. You see what I'm saying? Which made you forget who he was and who she was.
Uncle Daemon, and
again, he made you forget.
I will say this too. Now, I've always thought that Matt Smith was attractive in a non-traditional way. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't have what people call traditional good looks, but I've always thought that he was cute, attractive. I don't know if it's the blonde hair. I don't know if it's just the swagger and the attitude.
He carries himself.
Daemon Targaryen can get it. I'm just
you remember in that scene in Morbius when he was walking around with no shirt off, and you saw how buff his ass was.
Yes, that too. I was like, wait, is what?
That's not my doctor.
That's Matt, huh? Yeah. Oh, that scene, those 2 scenes, and then everything that came afterwards. Let me tell you, Rhaenyra will make a great queen, because that bitch thinks on her feet.
Yes, she does. I'm sorry, she even threw her mom under the bus. I swear, my mama.
But here's the thing, too, though. She didn't quite lie when she said that, because even later on, when Alicent is talking to the king, and she says, Rhaenyra swore to me that she is still a maiden. And I believe her. I said, she never said she was still a maiden.
That.
No,
she said Daemon didn't touch her in that way.
He did touch her.
Somebody did touch her in that way.
Somebody touched her in that way, but it wasn't Daemon.
Well, he did actually touch her in that way.
Well,
he just didn't finish. He was doing okay. All right, we can get all technical.
Okay,
here.
all right.
It sounds like a Bill Clinton thing. We're getting all technical here, but whatever.
Young folks don't know who Bill Clinton is.
But the people who know,
everybody,
they got it.
Yes,
the ones
they do.
Who know, they got it.
Yes,
they got it. Let's get technical. However, yeah, she was quick on her feet. What the hell? But see, this is my issue. Now, I was thinking maybe they didn't have feelings. I was trying to be the devil advocate about their feelings. I'm sorry. I'm co-signing with you today after this episode. Yeah, there's feelings. Because you got all up in arms. All up in arms. You didn't come to me like a friend, like, oh my gosh, this is what I heard. This is what your dad heard. Let me clue you in. What happened?
She
Tell me so
upset.
I can help you up. She was upset. Hey,
and
dude,
part
calm
of it
down.
Part of it is me feeling like, yes, she's upset because, well, I think there's some layers to this. Okay. Mm-hmm. I do think that part of it is that she may also have realized, okay, maybe my feelings are a little bit different.
Check.
I also feel like she has held Rhaenyra in such high regard, and you have to think about it. Back then, like here in this time, time and age, most of us don't think of sex workers in the way that they thought of them back then. You know what I'm saying? That there's so much now that we just kind of like, oh, that's what they do for a living. Okay. It's not a big deal. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Back then, for a young girl to go to a brothel, and not only just a young girl, the princess, I feel like Alicent might have taken that a little personally. Like she held Rhaenyra in this, maybe held her up on this pedestal. Like she could do no wrong. And then, of course, for her to go there and to go with Daemon, who everybody knows is a troublemaker, she could probably start to think, okay, yeah, this might actually be true. And then if that's the case, then for Rhaenyra to sit there and say, oh, no, it didn't happen. This is what happened. This is how it went down. He didn't touch me. I think Alicent has probably been her friend long enough to know when Rhaenyra is telling a lie, or at least when she's stretching the truth. Like I said, she didn't lose her maidenhead to Daemon. She did lose him to somebody, but she didn't lie about that.
Most everything she told her was the truth.
Yeah.
Except for the end. But who wouldn't believe that Daemon got into the drink and went off with a whore and forgot about it?
Okay.
Right.
That's easy to believe because if you know Daemon, you know Daemon.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But the majority of what she said was the absolute truth.
You didn't say 100%. You said majority.
Okay. But the other thing too is that Alicent, let me tell you, she may be young, she may be a young queen, but that girl pays attention and she knows what's going on, because even when she talks to the king, because at this point Viserys has confronted Daemon, and Daemon has really not denied anything, and even got to the point where he was like, oh, okay, well, if you feel like she's so, wed her to me. We'll make the house the way it was. And Alicent says to Viserys, she said, it is not in Rhaenyra's nature to be deceitful, but it is in your brothers. And he was like, so you think Daemon was telling a lie? Why would he lie about sleeping with her? She said, to get at you.
Right.
Like it didn't have to happen, but you think it's happened, and it has turned you topsy-turvy.
Yeah. And that's all he needs. That's all he
needs. And when has Daemon ever told the pure truth?
Right.
Like, he ain't necessarily a lie. He just, if you don't tell the pure truth. you know?
Right. And I mean, but Viserys is like, you know, when he said, whatever the case may be, Rhaenyra is not innocent. She and Daemon both have the blood of the dragon.
Yeah.
They are both chaotic.
Yeah.
Reckless.
But didn't we say that last episode? Like that is like a common thing among dragon riders is that they carry themselves a little bit different than everybody else, which is why Viserys has a problem. He ain't really a dragon rider. He rode a dragon, but he wasn't bonded to one.
He riding something else in this episode. I mean, okay. So let's talk about this other thing.
Wait, one more thing to add to Allison. Another issue that she had too is what she's going through. Because that would have been Rhaenyra's, like, I would say she consented.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? And for her, she has consented because she's married to to the king. However, she's not feeling it. So again, here go my best friend. She out, do whatever she want to do, and I'm stuck with this man with sores all over his back touching me.
Like until Rhaenyra is made to marry someone, they are in different circumstances.
Yeah. And I think you're right. That is part of the. And I don't even know if I want to say it's jealousy. I just think it's a little bit of sadness because she's like, you know what? I'm the queen, but I don't have free reign to live my life the way I want it. I don't have free reign to do what I want to do. She is trapped.
Right. It's
Whereas
almost
Rhaenyra,
like some married people hanging out with single people.
And at this point, she knows that Rhaenyra, he has even given Rhaenyra the choice to find somebody. Allison didn't have that.
No choice.
Well, Rhaenyra don't have that choice anymore.
Oh no!
But before we get to that, can we talk about Otto Hightower now?
Sure, let's talk about
this motherfucker.
So I know we talked about the and I guess her nickname is the White Worm, that she's supposed to be kind of like Varys, as far as like the Master of Whispers. Like she's the one who has elevated herself up from a whore and from Daemon's, fiance, whatever she was to him, mistress, whatever. And now she is using her means to gain her own kind of power. It was one of her little sparrows, as Varys used to call them, that was sitting outside the brothel when Rhaenyra came out. And that little kid was the one that went to Otto and told him about Rhaenyra being in the brothel. Now,
and that little kid is the one that brought the money back to Sarah. Yeah.
Now, Otto. He
didn't play his cards right.
He had it coming. And you could see, like, when he has the news about Rhaenyra and he has to bring it to the king, you can see he's kind of dreading telling the king, even though this is probably the best thing that's happened to him all year. But he still he's still dreading telling them. Who wants to go and tell their boss? Yeah, we found your daughter.
I don't think he was. I think he was contemplating, like, if I go to him, this is gonna play in my hand. Like, it's gonna be okay. Let me step back. My issue with Otto is when you get the information as the hand of the king, your job is to, advise the king and protect the throne, right? If you are a true hand and you do what you're supposed to do, you make the shit go away. Like, it never happened. You pay off who you need to pay off, you threaten who you need to threaten, you kill who you need to kill, and that shit never gets to the king and it never becomes a rumor. And in that moment, he's sitting there thinking, do I do that or do I take my opportunity to get her out of the way?
I don't know. He looked kind of worried to me, like he was worried.
No, he was worried because if he went to him with this and he told him, it shows his hand, which in the end, finally, Viserys, thanks to Rhaenyra, sees, oh, okay, yeah, I guess I wasn't really paying attention.
But he started saying it even before Rhaenyra said anything to him, because when Otto was in there talking to him, he basically said,
Yeah.
So is this what you would stoop to get your grandson on the throne, that you would spy on my daughter? Because unless Otto was there in the brothel watching, how do you know what the princess was doing?
Mm-hmm.
How does anybody else know the princess was out? You got people watching the walls, and you got people watching the castle to see what's going on.
Mm-hmm. Or you got people willing to give you the information because they know you want it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that makes him like she said, he's compromised.
Mm-hmm.
It's a conflict.
But I didn't expect Viserys to take it one step further. When he calls Otto into the small council room, basically to fire him, first thing he said was like, 5 days. That's how long it took from my father being named Han till the time he was dead. 5 days.
And he prefaced it with, he was at the peak of his physical shape. He was at the peak of being a dragon rider. He was in the peak of his life.
Yes.
And 5 days after being named the king, he's dead.
Yeah.
Come on,
he basically
you went from being
Otto.
just a dude on the court to becoming the hand of the king. Now, I wanted to relate this to Tywin Lannister, because Tywin did the same thing by promising Cersei to Rhaegar,
mm-hmm.
and that fell apart. You know what I mean? Because Aerys was crazy, so he was trying to do the same thing, but at least it was kind of out in the open, and he just wasn't being underhanded about it.
Yeah. But I was like, when Viserys started saying that, I said, oh, you even went back a generation. Like, oh, but you probably had a hand in this too, because it sure did elevate your house. And now that you were elevated, you're thinking, what step is next? Oh, yeah. Let me send my daughter in to comfort the king while he's mourning his wife. And he, again, made sure he said, I will never get over losing Emma.
Yeah, but he was careful. He was careful in how he said, because he didn't outright accuse him. He said, "Oh, he died of a burst belly 5 days later."
Mm-hmm.
Like, he didn't say you did it or you may have. He's like, it's just an interesting coincidence.
Mm-hmm.
And he elevated you from just some dude on the court to being hand of the king.
But did you see Otto's face when the king started talking? I was like, I'm looking at Littlefinger hearing Sansa all over again. Right. He was just like,
he was pressed.
He was
I was
like,
expecting Arya to come out and slit his throat. To be honest with you, he looked. I was like, you did great value, Littlefinger, no more.
Because Littlefinger, it took forever for him to actually get caught at what he was doing. And that was because he tried to pit Sansa and Arya against each other. And they were like, hold up, you did this shit with our mother and our aunt. No, sir.
That's not happening.
But Otto, as soon as the king started talking and he started making those little veil accusations, Otto's face is like, his facial expression didn't change. But if you look at him like in the eyes, you could tell just the whole shift of his body. He didn't say a word. He didn't move. He was just sitting there like, what the fuck is going on?
He was pressed.
Well, just go back to the beginning of the episode when Daemon came back. And he was over there in the corner when they're out there celebrating. He looked like a little stepchild over there, like, oh, I got to get back in. He knew he was on the outs.
Because
like, what do you think he was when
he was thinking? He saw Rhaenyra walk over, and he saw Daemon and Viserys having the hee-haw good old time. He was like, oh, this shit could backfire. He could be like, you know what? Daemon has kind of proved himself, and maybe Daemon could be king, and that would just throw everything out of whack for him.
So he was hoping that Daemon did something stupid that evening.
Think about how he was in the throne room when Daemon came in. He was on edge, and when Daemon actually knelt in front of the king, you notice Otto walked all the way around to the side. I don't know what he thought he was doing, but Daemon even looked at him like to say, "What?"
Yeah. Because at worst, the king could have been like, you know what? Daemon is the hand of the king now. You go back to Old Town.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
He was worried.
he was worried. I bet that man got ulcers galore. He had to be walking around.
Right.
He had to be walking around there in pain. He looked stressed. His hair was all disheveled. He's always been disheveled. He just looked like he was under a lot of pressure.
But he was also hoping that Daemon did something stupid.
Yeah, because he was getting pressure from his brother to make this Aegon shit happen. And so, Daemon doing what he did just kind of put him in a precarious position.
And Daemon came in all humble. Oh, they named me the king of the narrow sea, but I know that there's only one king, Your Grace.
Yeah. But
he did that right.
But the way Viserys was talking to Otto, it's almost as if it's almost as if he had thought about this before. Like this,
you know what?
This may have been something that he had pondered and just kind of like, I'm not gonna worry about it. It seemed like it was something that had always been kind of on his mind.
Probably so, but now that and regardless of how much at odds he and his daughter are, you saw in this episode that motherfucker was ready to fight about his child. And I think maybe when it just got to a point where it was like, okay, so you are literally trying to sully Rhaenyra's name, because of course, if she's soiled, no lord is going to want her. People are going to say things about her being heir more than they're already saying. It's like, oh, this will work out really great for you, because that will put your grandson on the seat.
And like, even though it was 4 years ago, his brother told him the same thing. And Rhaenyra is telling him the same thing. And like, you might need to put you have all the information available to you. You just need to make the connection.
Right.
And not be a coward, because that's Viserys' biggest problem.
Well, I'm so proud of him this episode. Okay. He finally did his job.
I had a little
attention to what's going on.
I had a little respect for him, because he was like, who is the person spreading these rumors? Bring them to me and I will cut his eyes out. I was like, oh, okay, you getting a little mean, Viserys. Somebody fucking with your daughter.
Like, I can't do that. Yeah, you can.
He's like, the hand can't do his job if he gives away his information. Yeah, the hand can.
Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Now
you're the second most powerful man in the kingdom.
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
But no, before he went in there to talk to King, I think he was just debating. Like, if I really do this, I'm showing my entire hand. It could either go A or it could go B.
Yeah.
He gambled.
He did. It was a 50-50 chance. It just didn't work out.
He played the Game of Thrones and he lost. Well, he lost this round.
Okay, Cersei.
I'm just saying.
He played the game. He lost this round.
I'm just saying. But the High Towers in this episode, they were all losing. I mean, we got to talk about Alicent and Viserys. So he calls her to his room, because I guess he feeling a little freaky dicky. She had to sit there and kind of bathe him. Okay, so here's the other thing before we get into all of that. So when they have him in the tub and his attendants are bathing him, they're like just lightly, look like they were just lightly scrubbing his arm, and he's like, he's in so much pain. And then of course she does, and he was like, you have a gentler touch. But I was like, dude, is that little rot that you got going on spreading? And then I was just thinking that. Then for the next scene to come, and he beckons her to his room, and then you see him on top of her. You see the patches of, it almost looks like mold on his back. So disgusting.
Oh, disgusting. Oh man.
And she just sitting there like. Just like,
you should see the indifference on Haneko's face.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how she looked. She was just kind of like, one sheet, two sheet, red sheet.
I'm gonna go back to thinking about, okay, I'm gonna go back to my room, make me some more tea, read a book.
And then she had this, I guess, stay there all night. He was over there asleep. And she
Ugh.
was just sitting there, just kind of twiddling her thumbs. And was that a rat walking around the room or something? I was trying to figure that out. I was like, what is that thing at the... I don't know. It's just poor baby.
I was distracted. I was still thinking dark patches on the back of the man's back. I'm like, is he the Walking Dead? Like, he's like literally the king right before our eyes. Is the man dead?
Man, let me tell you. I was expecting, like when he called her to his room, I was expecting there to be a sex scene, especially given what we were seeing was about to happen with Daemon and Rhaenyra, because they kind of put all of that stuff kind of going back and forth. And then with her and Sir Kristen, you know, like I said, these contrasts, like here you are the queen and you are so unhappy with your life. And then here you are over here just kind of living it up. And what, I mean, poor Allison. Because when they show, and then the way they came on the shot, of course, they show it from an aerial shot. So all we see is his back and him just kind of hunching her, basically. And you just see like the camera pan on her hand, and her hand literally is just like this. Like she's not doing anything. She's just sitting there just like, oh my God, how long is this going to be? And then they go to a different shot and they come back and he's still sitting there grunting and doing all this other stuff. I was just like, we don't need to see all of this. I need to know what's going, like, I need y'all to figure out how to help the king, because that shit does not look healthy.
It doesn't. However, for it to be 4 years since the last time we saw that one open sore, he only has like 4 more, so that's not bad.
That we could see. Ain't no telling what's going on anywhere else.
On his legs and stuff. He don't have no toes left.
He ain't got much longer.
I don't think so, especially looking at the previews for the next episode. I think Viserys' time is going to come to a quick end very soon. And I don't know, I'm kind of feeling like, do we not, like I said, I haven't read the story, so I don't know the outcome. Does he die like naturally, or is he killed? Because the way Otto Hightower was in that promo, he was like, the king will die. You need to prepare Aegon to be king. Oh, are we about are we about to kill the king? Is that what we're doing now? You got mad because you got fired?
But then Aegon can't be king because he's not.
What's he like, 4?
Well,
5, 6?
First of all, that's not the heir.
Oh, he's not the heir.
Yeah.
Well, what was it they said?
Well, Viserys made a good point. He really can't change. He really shouldn't change it, because, like she said, the Lords have already sworn their fealty to her. And what you're gonna do is you're gonna plunge the empire, because it's an empire, into a war, because you'll have the Lords pledged to her, and then the other Lords are gonna renege on their pledge, and that's treason.
Yeah, but then just like you see in the promos for the next episode, I mean, and even Rhaenys told her this. She was like, if she ascends the Iron Throne,
they'll burn it down first.
Knives will be drawn.
They're gonna burn
it's gonna be war either way it goes.
First.
Yeah, it is.
They're gonna burn the kingdom down first before they let a woman be queen. That's what they'll burn it.
She got a dragon though. I think that dragon's fire is worse than theirs.
Yeah. Well, the Targaryens have, is it 19 dragons between them and the
Valerians?
That's a lot of fucking dragons.
That's a lot of dragons.
And you saw what damage just one dragon did.
Aegon only needed 3 to conquer the entirety of Westeros.
I mean,
they got 14, 19. I mean, good luck with that, guys.
Right. Okay, so we done talked about all the like juicy stuff. Let's talk about some of the, I guess there's one very, I guess you could say drama filled part that I want to talk about, but I want to talk about the funny stuff at the beginning. Because at the beginning of the episode, Rhaenyra is on her courtship tour. This is where she's touring all of the kingdoms, and all of the eligible bachelors are coming before her, bestowing their virtues.
The traveling bachelorette show.
Yes.
Now
giving out roses.
This first guy who was talking to her, she was so bored because this dude was talking, and he wasn't talking. He was droning on about his lands and about what he can offer her, and he has to go over, he has to pour him some water, take his time drinking the water. She and Sir Kristen are looking at each other like, what the fuck?
The funniest thing though was I guess he had said something about how beautiful her great grandmother
was.
And she's like, you were telling you how beautiful my great grandmother was? He's like, that was like 50 years ago.
She was like, yes, it was. And everybody started laughing. And I forgot which Baratheon this is sitting on her right. He's counseling her. He was like, that was really uncalled for. She was like, so is this man older than my father calling himself a suitable? I was like, y'all, Rhaenyra is not here for y'all shit.
She is not.
But then she's sitting here fussing about this old man, and then the next suitor that comes to her has to be like 12, 11.
Lord Blackwood.
Yes, but the thing about him is
now a child.
He comes up, he's very respectful. He says what he needs to say. He's not being, he's not giving out all these platitudes or whatever. He's basically saying, look, this is my house and this is what we did and this is your house. And if we put our two houses together, we will be, great. And you will be, he was like, you will want for nothing and I'll keep you safe. And of course, there's another Baratheon over here on the side who just keeps jesting this little kid. And I'm like, first of all, you bully. You a grown-ass man. Like, why? Leave the kid alone. Let him do what he came to do.
Why are you so threatened? Why you feel so threatened, grown man?
Right.
You're 12 years old. Why you feel threatened? Even though you give this boy about 4 or 5 more years.
He didn't need it. No. He didn't need it because when he turned around,
she would have been like, oh, okay, this dude might be all right. Because she's kind of like, oh, he's kind of cute.
Yeah.
But let me tell you, that Baratheon, he called that little boy a craven. When he got ready to go, little boy pulled his sword, and Rhaenyra was like, okay, you know what? I'm out.
It's time to go.
I'm not trying to watch none of this.
But
shout out you hear them fighting, and then you hear somebody get stabbed, and she turns around thinking it's the kid. No, this little kid done killed that big ass Baratheon. When I tell you, I was hollering.
Dude, your first clue was when it was Bormond Baratheon when he said, "Oh, the Blackwoods have like the most formidable army in Westeros. You don't think they're training their kids as soon as they can pick up a sword?" And he pulled out a broadsword. This 12-year-old pulled out a sword longer than his ass, and you gonna pull out a dagger? You was not prepared.
Don't judge a book by its cover, because that book sure murked your ass.
Who brings a dagger to a sword fight? How about that? You
fucking Baratheon.
The wrong one. The wrong one. You should have kept your mouth shut. You felt so threatened. And now look at you.
Your guts all over the floor.
Look at you now, spitting up blood, intestines just everywhere. Just look at you now. What movie was that from? Just look at you. But yeah, I shout out to that boy, and he, you know what? He insulted the Baratheon, insulted him. He didn't say a word. He pulled his sword out.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't say it. He just pulled the sword out. Okay, let's go.
And this was after the third time. After the third time.
Yeah.
He ignored him the first time.
You.
Ignored him the second time. He was like, look, it's bad enough you sit here interrupting me while I'm talking to the fucking princess. Now you got the nerve to insult me to my back when I have my back turned.
Mm-hmm. He didn't say he pulled the sword. He pulled the sword out. He was ready. and look at you now.
Right. They trained them well.
He's so dead.
You pull out a
He's so
dagger.
dead. He's so dead.
He pulled out a broadsword. You pull out a dagger. Come on. He could barely pick the sword up. He shuffled you, buddy.
And the older Baratheon just sitting there fussing at him like, will y'all stop? And then you hear strunk. And I was like, what happened?
But she was funny. As soon as that sword came out, she was like,
it's time to go. We're leaving.
Because she knew where it was going.
We're
like,
leaving.
I'm not here for this.
She was like,
no roles for this group. No roles for this group.
Right. She's like, I'm not going to sit here and watch y'all fight. I don't even want neither one of y'all.
I don't even want to be here. Why am I here?
She was like, look, fuck this. I'm going home. Another 2 months of this? No, I'm going home. I don't care how pissed my dad going to be. I'm going home.
I'm done.
That was one of my favorite scenes. This was the best episode.
Mm-hmm.
Not a dragon in sight. Well, one, but not
very
really.
briefly. When he knocked into the boat, I'm like, really? You're gonna make the princess bump her head? That's probably why she was acting crazy all throughout this episode. She done bumped her head.
Okay, that's what we want to blame it on.
Yeah,
sure. All right. Okay.
No, we're not gonna blame it on that. We're gonna blame it on Daemon because when he was walking down those stairs, I was like, wait, is Matt Smith bow-legged? What? I was like,
why he cut his hair? Did I miss it? Did they explain why?
No, they didn't say no.
I mean, he probably still had crab feeder guts in and couldn't get it all out.
Oh goodness.
I'm just saying. You know, he had a lot of stuff in his hair the last time we saw him.
Yeah, it was disgusting.
So I don't know.
The new house words, blood and guts.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, and then how the king was saying how Corlys is still upset. Yeah, he should be upset.
That's the other part I wanted to talk about. But before we get to that, I have it played in the background. And you know how Queen Alicent kept talking about these tapestries, saying, you know, maybe Daemon wants to see the tapestries, and the king was like, he don't want to see them tapestries. Oh, that was the other thing. The king keeping on saying, you were mother's favorite. You were her favorite. I swear upon it. Yes, no, it's true. You were her favorite. I was like, y'all, Daemon just sitting there like,
yeah, okay.
But no, I'm looking at the scene where all of the people are filing in right before Daemon comes into the Great Hall. And there's the scene where one of the servants is coming down the hall. There's a tapestry on the wall. And it appears to be of an orgy. I was like, oh, I wonder if those were the tapestries. Yeah, you got naked people on this thing. There's one guy, he's literally bent over with his never mind. You just have to go watch it. I'm not even about to try and describe this. Just have to go back and see it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But yes, let's talk.
Michelle raises a good point.
Yeah, I see.
About Corlys. I'm not gonna lie. I know you can be upset, but damn, it's been 4 years, man.
But that was, come on now. It made no sense. Okay, we're not going back to the episode, but it made no sense your decision to marry Alicent. That was the proper protocol, what you should have done. I know the girl was 12. However, you could have waited 11. It became 11. If you could have waited 5 years. However, the man may not have 5 years too, so that's neither here or there. However, I can still be upset. That was my child. And now you about to do it again? She better marry that son, the sea snake son. She better marry him. Because if they do this again, we're going to war. If I'm Corlys, we're going to war. You deny my first child, now you're going to deny my second child.
But here's the other thing, too. I would think, and yes, I know Lord Corlys is a proud man, but I would think that after you've been shunned by the king and after he told you not to go start this war, that you turned around and went and started anyway, and you lost more of your fleet and more of your people and would have lost this war had Daemon not showed up and showed out that day, I would think that you would be embarrassed to show your face to the king, because that little bit of grace that he gave for his brother was because that was his brother. His brother came, regardless of how he ended the episode, he came to him very humble, very seemingly apologetic for his actions. He bended the knee to his brother. He bowed his head. And it's like he was going to accept whatever his brother did. I mean, literally, most of the nobles were there. The townspeople were there to see, oh, this is the brother that, went off against his king. Let's see what he's going to do. And he tells Daemon to rise and he embraces him, basically saying, welcome home, brother. Corlys would not have gotten that same treatment. Corlys probably did better to stay away. Because the king could have been like, yeah, you know what? Bring me them pretty silver dreads on a platter.
Yeah, but he's still upset though. And he has the right to be upset.
He needs to get over it.
Yeah.
But also, he
needs to get
also
over
be
it.
upset because, honestly, the crown should have been involved in this war. It shouldn't have gone this long.
That's true.
You understand what I'm saying? I don't know what the hell you were thinking. Well, you don't know how to do your job anyway. So clearly,
Michelle does not like Viserys as king.
But however, Viserys is king. And and what you do is you say, you know what, you let it go, and then you be like, look, I have a son, you have a daughter. Let's try this again.
And you're gonna say yes, but if it fails again.
I mean, did y'all see the previews for the next episode?
It looks like it's gonna be another fight.
Looks like there's gonna be a fight at the wedding, or at least the engagement party, or something.
And I think I saw her doing it again. Like, I'm out. Because
I think I saw Rhaenyra getting thrown down on a table.
Yeah, like he was getting his butt kicked.
So, and I don't know, because I think I heard somebody mention something about them. I don't know if they actually do get married, and maybe something happens, because like I said, we know she ends up with Daemon at some point. So I don't know what happens, but from what I understand, she's not exactly Rhaenyra's type.
Does that surprise you?
No.
Once upon a time, I saw a family tree, and I think she has kids from Rhaenyra and kids from.
So maybe she got married to him first. He probably died, and then.
Yeah.
Okay.
That could be it, though. That honestly, that could happen
in the book. Like, I think.
Okay.
She has kids. I think she has kids from either both of them or from Rhaenyra.
Okay.
I think.
But
then he also had some Rhaenyra has kids too from someone else, a bastard.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, I need to go look at this. Now I will say this for Viserys.
That was a while ago when I saw it. I didn't know. I wasn't really paying attention because that was before the show came out.
Right.
So.
Now I will say this was for Viserys. He does seem to be like a one-woman man. He does not seem like the king, the type of king that goes out and does what Robert Baratheon did.
Like, what did he have? 17, 19 bastards or something like that?
Probably more than that. But yeah. This episode, boy, I tell you, when they started with that mess, I was like, oh, I'm not even about to get on the internet right now. I'm not about to get, because the Facebook group that I'm part of, Black Folks Watch Game of Thrones too, they have a live live reaction thread going. So, if you're watching it, you can go put your comments in there. I was like, nope, I'm not even about to open up Facebook. I'm gonna see something, because I think I started watching it maybe about 30 minutes late. So I was like, let me not go on the interwebs right now. And I think I had opened Twitter up to check something else. And I saw House of the Dragon trending. I was like, nope. Okay, phone, you're going to go right there while I watch this. Oh. And then, like you said, when it got to a certain point, I literally had to look like this because I'm like, I felt like I was in the room. And I was like, I'm not approved by any stretch of the imagination, but there are just some things that I don't need to be just watching folks do like right there in my face. I was just
she did a great job directing it, because I'm gonna say if a man did it, it probably would have been a little different. But here, I mean,
it would have been Littlefinger. It would have been Littlefinger instructing two women how to fist each other.
Oh my God, that is so Littlefinger.
But I mean, do you not remember that scene? Like,
yeah. Or the scene where the girl walked in and he wiped. It was like, Littlefinger.
So it would have been quite different.
It would have been different.
But we didn't mention the last part where your daddy had the maesters bring you some tea.
Let me tell you the comments.
Just in case.
The comments about the morning after tea.
Just in case.
People are like, wait, they had morning after tea back in Westeros. I'm like, do y'all not realize they had that stuff in real medieval times? Like, yes, they knew how to keep people from having babies. This ain't no new thing.
No.
But the way she looked at that tea when the maester was like, to just in case of any, unintended circumstances, and she was looking at that tea like, this motherfucker. Like, I told him ain't nothing happened.
But he just saying, just in case.
That was him saying, I don't believe you.
That's true. But just in case. Take that tea.
Take that tea.
Drink that tea, anime. Drink that tea.
Because, think about it. She may not have slept with Daemon, but she would have came out with this little dark-haired baby. Dornish baby.
That baby look a little Dornish there.
That baby look just a little bit Dornish.
So she waited until he left that room and said, let me go ahead and sip on this tea.
Mm-hmm. It's not like she had a sink in her room that she could just throw it down. Even though she does have that secret passageway behind her wall.
Just go ahead and drink it.
No,
just drink it.
What you do, you drink it, then you put some water in it, and then you call someone and then throw it out the door, and then it spills everywhere. I'm not drinking this.
Somebody else suggested that today.
You take it to your dad. What is this? You don't believe?
And then you throw it at him and it spills everywhere. Yeah. And my worst fear was how shady and shysty the maesters are. They would be like, oh, we can check and see if she's still has her maidenhood. Michelle was like, oh, hell no.
I was wondering that when they were walking her to the room.
I
was wondering.
Yeah.
I was like, if they do this, I'm gonna be like, This episode. Did you see?
Who had that thought?
Oh no, yeah. I was wondering. I was like, if y'all do this, it's gonna be some fighting. Did y'all see the way he looked at her? Like when everybody was filing into the throne room right before Daemon came, and she walked in with everybody else, and she was trying to hide. He was looking at her like, "What the fuck are you doing here?" Yeah. She just kind of.
All that fucking silver hair, and you trying to blend in with these. Come on now.
Come on now.
Come on, son. Really?
And Daemon just walking in with his little swagger. But no, let's talk about drunk Daemon on the damn floor after the king chastised him. The king has basically exiled him again. Get out of my sight for good. He's like, wherever you wish, brother. And he rolls over on the floor. He just
no, he kicked him, and Daemon didn't do shit. He kicked him, and Daemon was like, "Yeah, ouch."
But no, when Viserys left, he turned over Like he was, the floor had to have been cold as stone, and he's drunk, so he was probably like, "Oh, this cold floor feels so good. I'm just gonna lay here for a minute.
Let me take a nap. Let me just take a short
How many
nap."
times has he commanded him to go to Dorne? And to the Vale,
To the Vale,
and he just has not. He just is not going.
Oh, he was talking about that wife of his too, man. The conversation they were having about that wife, because what was it? She said, because Daemon told her that marriage is just a political, what do you say? It's a political something or other. And she was like, no, for men it is. Oh, political arrangement. She said, for women, it's a death sentence. He said, that ain't true, because if that's the case, I would have got rid of my bronze bitch long ago. And she was like, she's lucky you haven't put a child in her. Yeah, he said, I don't think a child would grow in such hostile environment.
He really don't like that woman. He really don't.
I want to see what she looks like.
He really don't.
Like,
just to understand.
Both of them. Why?
And I'm like, what? Okay, if you're the Lord of the Vale and like your daughter is married to a prince and the motherfucker is just not around. He's out gallivanting. What's the word? Gallivanting and doing all. He's starting wars and shit.
But you know who that reminded me of, Michelle? Oddly enough, Dougal in season 1 of Outlander.
Oh, yeah.
Because it was the same situation. His wife way the hell over there, and he over here at the palace chilling with Galen.
He was like, nope, I'm not going home.
Yeah, that conversation was interesting. I like hearing them speaking Valyrian more.
I like that too.
I like it.
I like when they just break out into their
little private conversations. Mm-hmm. They're like, so nobody else will know what we're talking about. But oh my goodness, Daemon in this episode was just it's like you don't want to like him because he's doing some shitty things, but at the same time, you can't help it. I saw so you were talking about at the beginning, Michelle, about the meme. Someone had a meme and it said, every week I watch House of the Dragon, like, Daemon, what kind of fuck shit are you gonna do today and how can I support you?
I told you, Team Daemon.
Right. I mean, I love him.
I think the king gonna die from alcohol poisoning. Because that Joker he's staying drunk now. I think that conversation with him and Rhaenyra was probably the most sober we've seen him in quite a while.
Oh, he said, you're going to marry
Rhaenyra
Valerian and you're not going to protest.
Right.
Said,
she was just kind of like,
okay.
But she was like, okay, I'll marry him out of duty, but you got to do your duty as a king first. Basically, she was, and everything she was saying was true. Mm-hmm. Like, you keep trying to hold her back. Yeah, you call her your heir, but you're not really including her in anything. But this girl is smart.
Yeah, and I was like, he knows that too. He knows that she's smart.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now, if the people who were putting on that play would understand that she's smart instead of talking about, oh, will she be fickle? And the crowd's like, fickle. She's like, boo, boo.
Yeah, that was funny. Boo.
I really did like this episode, though.
Yeah, this was the best episode so far. Even though there was hardly any action, it was a lot of drama.
Yes.
And the dialogue wasn't exposition. It was like real fucking conversations.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a West Wing episode where they were just talking shit to each other.
One meme is from Friday, and they're on the porch. Otto's on the porch, and it said, "How do you get fired on your day off?"
I like the meme you posted earlier, Hanukkah, with the kid. Sir find out those. What is it?
Sir fuck around and find out.
Sir fuck around and found out. Keep talking that shit over there, sir. Keep talking it and see what happens.
We have one less Baratheon in the world, and he got killed by a 12-year-old.
And someone else said, that boy said, he said, my mama ain't raised no bitch. And she didn't. He was ready.
But yeah, the look of Rhaenyra's face right before all that happened, she was like, "Oh, yeah, he's kind of cute."
Oh my goodness.
He's a killer. Now he can back up everything he said. You know, he can back it up.
What did he say? You will want for nothing, and I will and I will protect you. Yeah, I think he would do a good job of that.
Yes, very much so.
Yeah, this was a really good episode.
It was
best one so far this season, I will say.
And we still and you know, this is actually a full 10 episode season. So I think next episode is the last episode that we will see of Millie Alcott as Rhaenyra. I think starting in episode 6 is when we see Emma Darcy as I think she's supposed to be Rhaenyra 10 years in the future. So they are going to do like a 10-year time jump. So I don't know. I've thoroughly enjoyed her.
Yeah.
And it's going to be interesting watching someone else take on that character, especially an older version of that character. But I just need to know what's going on with Daemon.
I wonder if she was on the set that they like maybe this may be too much. Maybe they collaborated on the characterization of Rhaenyra.
I think I could see that happening.
I could see that happening.
Yeah, because it's very
to make the transition
smoother.
Yeah.
Because it's not very often that you see, especially in a season where one actor plays this character for pretty much half of the season, and then all of a sudden you shift the story to another character. Usually you do that in between seasons. It's almost rare that you see it happen in the same season.
We saw
especially in one of the starring roles.
We saw in The Lost Symbol. They had two actors playing the character.
Okay.
It wasn't quite half and half though.
Okay.
It wasn't.
Yeah.
But I can tell you right now where Uncle Daemon went. He went back to Dragonstone.
Probably so.
Probably did.
He's not supposed to go to.
He going away for his bride that he asked his brother about. He was like, "Yeah, just wed her to me.
I'll take her as she is."
I'll take her as she is, like implying. Well, I mean, his words were truer than he knew. But oh my goodness, at the beginning when she was talking to him, and she was like, "My father seems content to sell me off to the highest lord." He was like, "There are worse things to be sold for." I was like, then I have to remember the times that they're living in.
I remember he's like, what is he, the prince, the flea bottom prince, or the prince of flea bottom? So of course he would know. Matt Smith is great. Somebody on this show is gonna win an Emmy. Somebody.
Let's hope. You know, Emmys
should be.
You know, they don't be thinking about our shows. I'm waiting for the Saturns to come around. This show will get some nominations and some acting noms. But yeah, Matt Smith. Yeah.
What's the line on Lord Strong becoming Hand of the King? I think it's pretty good odds.
I'll put my vote in for him.
I will put my vote in for him because I would say he's probably the most trustworthy person around the king now. Because anything he's ever said to the king or done has always been truthful. It's never been for selfish gain, selfish means. He's always spoken the truth.
He might be the one person who hasn't shown any self-interest. Remember, he was Viserys was saying they all self-interested. All the lords that come to me, the small council. Lord Lionel Strong seems to not be that way.
Right.
I said seems.
Yeah. But I mean, you do have some of those characters who kind of don't want those things. I mean, Ned Stark was the same way. Ned Stark didn't want all that glory. You know, he could have become Robert's hand when Robert took the throne. He was like, nah, I'm going back to Winterfell with your fiance's illegitimate baby that you don't know about. Or yeah. Ned Stark was like, I don't want none of this political intrigue. I don't want none of this stuff. Even when he was there, he didn't want to have anything to do with it. And that was where he went wrong.
That's true.
Yeah.
But you know, we know he really didn't want to do it initially because of Jon.
Yeah.
So he didn't want him anywhere near that place in case his hair turned silver.
Right.
Problems.
Right. Because then everybody
he wanted him as far away from Robert Baratheon as possible. He's like, wait. They did what? Oh yeah, they killed all the Targaryen babies. Okay, I'm gonna take this one up north.
Yeah. You know, my sister said something about that when she was whispering in my ear. She was like, you know, Robert will kill him if he finds out. Yeah, let me just go home and tell my wife that I had a whole affair and a whole baby. That wasn't true.
And thank God he didn't have purple eyes and silver hair. Thank God. Anyway.
Yeah. But I think we've pretty much
we covered it.
We covered it. I mean, we got all the good stuff out the way first. But yeah, this is about to be interesting because looking at the previews for next week, first of all, Rhaenyra looks gorgeous. I don't know if this is like the actual wedding or if this was like an engagement dinner or whatever they do, but that dress she had on and the way her hair was, I was like, oh my gosh, she looks so gorgeous. And then all of a sudden there's a fight. And I was like, wait, what? What happened? Yeah, that's going to be interesting. So, y'all have anything final to say about the sex episode or the sexcest, the incest episode, whatever you want to call it? Sexcest. I don't know.
I think we said all there is to say. Just don't fuck with 12-year-olds from the Blackwoods. Just don't do it.
And on that note, that's it for our show. You can find us online at www.fandomhybrid.com. We are on social media on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Fandom Hybrid. We have a Discord channel, Fandom Hybrid Podcast. We are on YouTube, and you can listen to us on all major podcast streaming platforms. Thanks for listening. We hope you join the conversation next time.